Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. In this video, we will be looking at stamps. We'll be talking about everything that you have to know about stamps. So stamps are a really popular stationery item or category. People use them for lots of different things in your notebooks, in your planners and journals, and they are really easy and fun to use. They are kind of self-explanatory items, and I think most people would have seen a stamp in their life. But there are a lot of different types of stamps and different kind of unique stamps available. So I wanted to do a video kind of talking about all the different types of stamps and types of ink pads and what you need to use your stamps. And the four kind of main categories of stamps I have today that I want to cover are rubber stamps or wooden stamps, clear stamps, rotating stamps, and self-inking stamps. So let's go right ahead into these four categories and look at how to use them and kind of learn more about them. So first up are wooden stamps, interchangeably kind of called wooden stamps or rubber stamps. And I think this is kind of typical stamp that you would think of, or that most people would have seen at some point in their life. So basically what a wooden stamp entails is a wooden block like this to hold on to. And then the stamp part would be usually made out of rubber. So these are kind of like the most traditional type of stamps, I guess. So I just have some examples here with me. These are our very own team member Authen's Zoo series wooden stamps. So he's kind of managed to design these kind of intricate designs, and on the other side you'll see the image flipped, so it'll print the right way when you print it like this. So yeah, so the design, as you can see, is made of rubber like this. And I also have some fun little stamps from Kobito. We actually did a reel, like a short reel about these Kobito stamps on our Instagram, but these are actually kind of like fun little like silly stamps because they're actually stamps for your postage stamps. So I guess they're kind of using like the pun. So this design is really meant to kind of interact with a square postage stamp. So you would paste your postage stamp right here so that it looks like this guy is trying to like hold or balance your postage stamp. It's really funny. Yeah, so these are cute, but you can see these are also wooden stamps, and then the stamp itself is made of this like rubber material. I also brought these. These are other types of wooden stamps that we have. So this one is from Beverly. This is the mini planner stamp set. So this is really fun. It's a little set of these tiny wooden stamps. So it comes with this like really cute little storage case, and then each case holds 9 tiny little stamps. So you can see with this one, it's got like a little dessert design here. Still pretty comfortable and stable to hold on to, this wooden part. And then the tiniest little rubber stamp. And then this one is pretty cool. It's a date stamp, or like a calendar stamp, where you can rearrange these dates around. These are called perpetual stamps because you can kind of rearrange these months, monthly dates to make any kind of calendar you want. Essentially, it is a bunch of wooden stamps with the rubber stamp part on the bottom here. It has these grooves built into it so that you can kind of rearrange them and put them back together like this. So they come apart like this, and then you can take these individual pieces apart as well. And that will allow you to kind of rearrange them however you want. Yeah, like this. Yeah, so you can kind of make whatever design or whatever combination and then use the whole block to stamp like this. But yeah, so wooden stamps are kind of the most self-explanatory, simple. You just have a wooden block basically with a rubber stamp design on there. Next up are clear stamps. So clear stamps are basically these little clear acrylic pieces or plastic pieces that you can use with a clear acrylic block like this. And these are really fun because you can essentially kind of arrange your designs to make a unique kind of combination of these clear stamps. So you will need a clear block like this. So actually this set from Mizushima actually comes with the stamps and a little acrylic block so you can use with the stamps, but you can get these acrylic blocks separately as well. And what you will get is typically like a set of stamps like this on an acrylic sheet. And what you do is peel off these designs. So it's just a clear little piece. And then you can basically place this on your acrylic block, ink it up with an ink pad, and then stamp it like this. This is really nice because this allows you to see exactly where you're stamping on your page. So compared to like a wooden stamp like this, you know, you're kind of going off of what you see on the top here, but you can't actually see like what you're stamping on your page or where exactly the design is hitting, because your view is blocked by this wooden piece. But with a clear stamp like this, you can see basically exactly where your imprint is gonna land. So that's really convenient about these. But what's also really fun, like I was saying, is you can actually make your own little design by combining these elements however you want. So this set, for example, comes with all these little decorative pieces like a star and a heart. And yeah, you can make a different arrangement every time, depending on how you want to do it. So like you can put this cat like here or here, and that will be a design that you create. And then you can ink this up and stamp it like this. So yeah. And then once you're done stamping, you can take these off and then put them right back onto your sheet like that. One thing about clear stamps is that if these are kind of exposed to the sun for a while, it will kind of discolor a little bit. It'll get a little bit yellow. So I think it's the safest to store these in a drawer. So this Mizushima set, I'm just gonna put back in its packaging. Yeah. And then I have another example of a clear stamp set. This one's from Ours, and yeah, depending on which brand or like what kind of set you're looking at, they'll be packaged a little bit differently. I really like this one because you get this very pretty kind of paper sleeve with the design on the front here, so you can see which stamps are included in here. And then in here you'll find this sheet. This one's got like 2 sheets here just to be kind of protective, a little bit extra protection. And yeah, it's the same thing where you'll find a bunch of these designs, clear designs on a sheet like this, and then you can peel one off. I just realized these are all individual little pieces. So like this border is separate from these lines, which is really nice actually. So you can place your design on the block like this. And this set doesn't come with a acrylic block, so you would need to purchase it separately. So you can put it on like this, and then since all these different designs are separate, you can kind of create your own design. So I might do like a line like this, and then this kind of ribbon, this ribbon on top here, which is really cute. Yeah, so then this is a design that you don't see here. You've just basically created a design, and then you'll be able to stamp it like that. Yeah. So I'm gonna try to stamp this later because I really like this design. And another thing that's kind of nice about clear stamps is, besides your acrylic block, which can be a little bit bulky like this, the sets themselves are really small or like really flat, so they're easy to carry with you or store. So compared to these wooden blocks that are a little bit bulky, these are really flat, so they're a lot nicer to store. So those were clear stamps, which are really fun. And I kind of wanted to show you these stamps from King Jim. These are Hitotoki clear stamps, but they're kind of unique in that these designs on here are not removable. So this is kind of a funny, kind of unique product where it's kind of a combination of a wooden stamp and a clear stamp, like a typical clear stamp. So these are basically little individual pieces of clear stamps with a clear acrylic block already stuck on it, so that you're not spending too much time like rearranging and like placing your designs on the block. They're already attached. The point here is still that you can see through your block and see exactly where you're stamping, which is still very nice. And these come in different sizes, like this medium one and a small one. And you can also get sets of them like this. Yeah, so that's pretty neat. Pretty new idea to have like a permanent kind of clear stamp block like this. Yeah, so if you're the type of person who you don't really want to spend too much time like creating your design or like rearranging a bunch of pieces, this might be easier and more convenient for you. Okay, so before we move on to the next category, let's try stamping some of these wooden stamps and this clear stamp. So I'm just gonna try with the Kobito stamp here. So I have a ink pad. I have an ink pad here. So I'm just gonna press the stamp into the ink pad like this. You don't need a lot. You just need just enough. Because sometimes if you do too much, the design might be a little bit, you might have too much ink on it and it's gonna kind of like mush up the design a little bit. But yeah, so you can see now that I have some ink on the rubber design part of my wooden stamp. So I'm gonna just stamp it like this. And depending on how big the area of your design is, you might want to kind of like wiggle around your stamp to get all of the design, make sure that all of the design is on the page. But yeah, there you go. Pretty simple. You just stamp it right on the page. And now with this clear stamp, I'm gonna do the same thing. I might need to kind of move this around the ink pad because my design is a little bit bigger. Yeah, so just make sure, you can always check by looking at your stamp if you have enough ink on your design. So this one, I think actually it might be better to just stamp it like this or ink it up like this. I think it's looking pretty good at this point. I'm just gonna go ahead and stamp it. So like I said, the clear stamp is really nice because you can see through the clear acrylic and see where exactly you're about to print the design. So I'm just gonna do it right over here under these two guys. So I'm just gonna press it. Oh, I didn't get the ribbon. Let me try using a smaller ink pad. If you want to be kind of careful about getting the other color of the ink pad on here to kind of quickly clean up your stamp, what you can do actually is just stamp it a bunch of times until you get rid of your ink. It's kind of a quick little trick to get your stamp a little bit cleaner. All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead with the smaller ink pad. I think this might be a little better to get all the details. Ah, there you go. That looks a lot better. So I have like a ribbon and a little line, and I can use something like this, like as a label. So like I could do something like today's date. Like this, you know, it's really cute. So those were wooden stamps and clear stamps, and the next category is rotating stamps. So a rotating stamp is basically a stamp, any kind of stamp where you will have multiple designs in your stamp that you can alternate between and choose a design to stamp. So I'll show you an example here. So this is a rotating stamp from Midori. This is one of their paintable stamp versions with, as you can see here, it comes with 10 different designs in this one little stamp. And you can actually rotate between the design choices. So you can see here that these are all the different designs. And with this particular stamp, you can rotate between the designs by pressing on these little red buttons on the side and pressing down on this little part. Yeah, so these buttons are pressed in now, and you can actually just rotate the designs like this. And if I press it like this design, so this is pressed like this. The design that you see when it's pressed is the design that's gonna print. So if I print right now, this design with the coin purse is what I'm gonna get. Let's say I want this cake design, then what I need to do is basically see, so the cake design I can see is 2 designs down from this coin purse one. So I'm gonna move this down by 2 designs. And then now I have the cake design. Yep, so let's try this out. So now if I print on my page here, or if I stamp this here, I get my cake design here. Let's say I want to actually stamp this cat design. So it looks like this is kind of the opposite of on the opposite side of this cake. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5th design down from the cake. So I'm gonna have the button pressed, and then I'm gonna turn it down by 5 designs. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, now if I print, I should get this cat design. Okay, so let's go ahead and try printing it or stamping it. I keep saying print, but I mean stamp. So if I stamp it now, I'm gonna get my cat. Very cute. So that is kind of the basic concept of a rotating stamp where you can rotate between different designs. So I have another example. This is from Sanbi. This is Sanbi's Ink Beauty stamp, a rotating stamp. And this one is a little bit different. So this one you see there is a ink bottle design on that's kind of like the main design that doesn't change, and then the date part of the stamp is what rotates, or what you can rotate. So you have to pull this out like this first and then rotate. So let's say 2, 5. So that's 2024, June 25th, and then you press this back in like this so that you can, it's in place now to be stamped with the outer design, which is the ink bottle design. So then you would just ink it up and stamp it like this, and then you will get your customized date in there. So that's another example of a rotating stamp. And then I have another example from Shachihata, which is kind of the same idea as this one, except this one I think you just quite literally just manually rotate this part to get to different designs. And these are all these different designs within this one stamp. Yeah. So those were rotating stamps. And this Midori one was actually a paintable self-inking stamp, which leads me to my next category, self-inking stamps. So I have a few different types here. So we just saw the rotating stamp version of it from Midori. This one, as you saw, I don't need to ink it with an ink pad. It just it's self-inking. You do have to set it up when you first open like a fresh one. There's like a little refill cartridge of ink that you can put into your stamp, and then you can just use it until it runs out, and then they sell refills for these. So you don't need an ink pad to stamp these. These are self-inking. This is another one from Midori, kind of a flat version like this, kind of more like a traditional stamp. And you just ink this, and you don't need an ink pad or anything. It just does it by itself. And these two from Midori are called paintable stamps because the ink that it uses is an oil-based ink, which means you can, once it's dry, you can use paint over it. You can like use markers to paint over it, and the design will stay put, like it won't budge. And then I have other types of self-inking stamps. Let's look at this one. This is the Pochito button stamp. This is really fun. So self-inking stamps are obviously convenient because you don't need an extra thing. Like you don't need to carry around or have another separate thing, which is the ink pad. So they're great for carrying around with you, or if you don't want to worry about getting ink pads, this is a great option to kind of get into stamping, I think. This is really fun. So you get these 6 different designs, and it comes kind of combined in this one long box like this, and you can see the stamp side here, and These are buttons that you can just press individually to stamp. And ta-da! It's so cool that they're all different colors too. Yeah, so you don't need anything else. You get 6 different designs as different buttons on this Pochito button stamp, which is very cool. And then this one is another example from Sanbi's collaboration with Eric Small Things. Let's see. This is a really cute one. So this kind of works like those pencils that you can like rearrange the colors. So you can twist these little pieces off. Yeah, so you can twist and then this comes off. And what this does is each little piece has the stamp. So if you were to stamp this right now, it gives you this orange drink design. Yeah, so you have 4 different designs here, and you can kind of rearrange them in the order that you want. Let's say you put this together so that you have this flower design as the first one on the bottom here. Then when you go to stamp it, you're gonna get this flower. And then you can just rearrange these. So let's say I want the boat design next. I can just twist this open and rearrange it so that I can get my boat stamp. Yeah, it's really neat. I think this is great as a portable stamp that fits really nicely into your pencil case. And you can twist back the cap on when you're done and then throw this in your pencil case. So I think these 2 are really great options for kind of bringing your stamps on the go. It's really minimal. You don't need anything else. It's very simple. I actually have one more self-inking type of stamp, which is the Pilot Friction stamp. So Pilot Friction stamps are very small like this, and you basically uncap it and stamp it just like this. It's very easy, so you don't need any ink pads or anything like that. And what's really cool about friction stamps is that this uses the Pilot Friction ink, which is erasable. So this was the stamp end of the little stick, and on the other side you can see the design that you're stamping, but also around the edges is this like rubbery kind of material, which is the eraser part for the friction stamp. So you can go right ahead and erase your stamp like this, which is very cool. And I have another one here, a green one with this kind of stick figure design. So these are really great for your planner. Just a little like small design to fit into like a monthly calendar or something like that, or make like a to-do list or something like that. But you don't have to commit 100% because these are erasable. So that's really cool. So those were my 4 different types of stamps: the wooden stamps, the clear stamps, rotating stamps, and then self-inking stamps. Except for the self-inking ones, you'll need an ink pad to use with your stamp. So I have some different ones that I brought here. So we have 2 different brands that we have at Yoseka. One is Shachihata, and then the other one is Tsukineko. So these are 2 different brands that have a lot of different types of ink pads to choose from. Shachihata famously has their oil-based ink stamp or oil-based ink pads that kind of like, they're just pretty traditional kind of basic ink pad. So you have something like this where you can take off the cap, and then it's a flat surface to ink up your stamp like this. And they have a few different kinds. So this one kind of medium-sized one in all different colors. They have so many colors, and they have two different versions, a regular version and a shimmer version. So the shimmer one is really fun. So it's like a little bit shiny, sparkly when you stamp with them. And then they also make these kind of more basic ones in more traditional colors like black, blue, and red, and I think there's a green one in this medium size. There's a super like big large size, and then a smaller size kind of in this size as well. They also have these adorable mini versions of their ink pads. These were so popular when they just came out with these, like maybe 2 years ago, or maybe it was last year. But yeah, these are fun little mini versions, which I really like these. They're also like available in so many colors. They're so colorful, but these are really great because you can just kind of pick it up like this and then dab onto your stamp like this. Which is great if your stamp is a little bit more intricate and you want to get into like every nook and crease of your design. Or if your stamp is really small, like this, you don't really need like a big ink stamp like this. So yeah, this is pretty perfect for small stamps. So those were the Shachihata oil-based ink pads. And then from Tsukineko, we have some really unique ones in terms of their shape. So they do make these Staz-on ink pads, which are kind of just like more like these, where they're just kind of traditional, like you just have a flat surface with a lid in a few different colors. And then you have these, which are dewdrop ink pads from Tsukineko. These are great, like little ink pads, kind of like this one. Pretty comparable in terms of like size. The shape is kind of nice because you get this like pointy end of your ink pad, which you can use again to kind of get like little details of your stamp. And then this is a really fun one. This is called Soramame ink pads, and these are kind of little ink pads that fit onto your finger like this. It's really cute actually. So you would kind of put this on your finger like this, and it's got a little lid that you take off, and then this is really convenient to get these like little details of smaller stamps like this. And yeah, it's really cute. I think Soramame means something like beans or something, and these are supposed to kind of look like little beans. And yeah, they even look like little beans in a pod like this. It comes in a set of 4, so you can store them kind of nicely like that. Yeah, so these are really fun. I also wanted to kind of talk about like different things you can do with your stamps, especially with an ink pad like this. Stamps are really fun once you kind of figure out what style of stamping you like, and you can get really creative with them. So for example, you can use a couple of these different smaller ink pads to create like a color gradient on your stamp. So I'm gonna start to ink it up with this blue color here. And then what you can do is get a different color and create a little gradient effect by stamping the other half like this, and I would just kind of like stamp over the blue bit here, and let's see if that will create like a nice little blue to light gray gradient for me. Yeah, look how cool that is. So that's really cool kind of gradient effect that I've created with 2 different ink pads, but obviously you can go nuts and do 4 different colors. You can do 10 different colors. So you can get really crazy with like the ink pads that you use. Especially, it's really easy with these like small ones like these. And then another thing you can do is make like a custom collage with your stamp. You can kind of tape off like sections of your stamp so that it wouldn't print on your page. And that's one way to create like custom design basically from any kind of stamp. Let's say with this one, this is a stamp that has two different drawings here. Let's say you just want to print this little fox here and you don't want this like fountain pen or this little botanical thing going on up here. So one way to do that is to actually just carefully take your ink pad and just carefully ink up only the section that you want stamped on your page, but that can get a little bit finicky, especially if you don't have a small ink pad like this, or if you're kind of, you know, like these designs can be a little bit detailed and like a little bit difficult to avoid like getting ink on the other parts that you don't want. Then what you can do is get a little bit of masking tape and just mask off these parts that you don't want to print. And then you're free to just kind of use something like this or even like a bigger pad like this to ink up. And then once you print that, you're gonna get just the parts of the designs that you want. So that's another way to create like custom designs from these stamps. Okay, so that's all I have for this video today about stamps and ink pads. And I hope you enjoyed watching. Comment below if you have a favorite style of stamping, favorite kind of stamp that you use, or if you have any questions about any of the products mentioned today. And I'll be back with another video soon. Thank you!